Hey everybody, so we're now in the month of June, so that means it's time to look at the top 9 games we played during the month of May. So before I get into the top 9, let's have a quick look at the stats. In the month of May, I have played 38 times with 33 different games. And that's about 5% of my base collection. And if you notice on the graph there on the bottom, most of that playing happened on the last weekend, which was when I attended Gobfest. But let's look at the games that made the top 9. So in the number 9 position is Cascadia. So Cascadia is a puzzle game. It's almost like you have two puzzles going on at the same time. It's a fairly simple to learn, simple to teach, and a quick game. So which is kind of nice. So on your turn, you're going to draw a tile and a token, and I'm saying it's two puzzle because first you got the tile puzzle that you're doing. So you're trying to get all these tiles to touch together in a way that kind of keeps the same terrain all grouped together. And then at the end of the game, you'll score the biggest grouping of terrain that you have for each type of terrain that there is, and I think there's 5 different kinds. And then whoever has the largest in each type actually get bonus points as well. So that's the first one. Now on these tile, you also have the different animals that you can put on each terrain. So could be that you're putting down that only allows a fox and a trout, or it only allows a bear and an elk and a trout, or depending on what's depicted on there. Some tiles only allows one animal, and if you put that animal onto it, because it's the only animal that can go into it, you actually gain a pine cone token. Now the pine cones are worth points at the end of the game, but it always also allows you to draw a tile and a token that aren't grouped together, and you can kind of pick separately. And then with the animal tokens, now each time you play the game, you're going to draw new cards for each animal that's going to have a different way of scoring. Last time I played, for the foxes, you needed to have two fox touching together, and you scored for each pair of animals surrounding those two foxes. The animals around didn't have to touch each other, but you had to have two. And then the more pairs that there was around, the more points they were worth. So each animal gets a different criteria, and you're putting these tokens on top of the map that you're creating, trying to create these arrangements to score as well. So at the end of the game, you'll score the terrain, then you'll score the animal tokens, and then if there's any bonus and pine cones, you'll score those as well. Whoever has the most points is the winner. It's a really neat, as I mentioned, quick to learn, quick to play. I really enjoy this one. So that was my number 9, Cascadia. Now, in number 8 position, I have Seven Wonders Architects. I actually played that one at Gobfest. I had signed up to kind of one of the organized plays that they teach and play. And I was really impressed with this one. This one reminds me of Seven Wonders meet Between Two Cities. So everybody picks a different wonder that they're going to build. So from different civilization, and then you put your wonder together, and it's all little pieces that's going to be face down. And then as you play the game, and you'll collect the resource you need, you can flip those over. The game ends when one player completes their wonder. Now each ones are different. There was I'm not sure what's in front of that one right there. Some sort of tower. Was Greek descent. There was, the pyramid. So there's all of these different structures you're building. And then as you build some of these, they'll give you different effects. Some of them give you extra military shields. Some give you the ability to draw extra cards. So it was interesting. And what's really interesting with the drawing of the cards, so each round you'll draw a card and then you'll play what you can. Now, on your turn, you can draw from the deck that is between you and the player to your right and then you and the player to your left. Or you can draw from the deck that is in the middle that's face down. So the cards on the between the players are all face up. And one of those is going to be one from your civilization that you'll put face up, and then it kind of goes all the way around. So you have a few options of what to pick from. And then you can still do the military victory. You can still do the science victory, or the points victory if you get all the way to the end. It was really interesting. Plays super quick. We ended up playing this one 2 times in a row because it is a really, really quick game. It was super neat. So that was Seven Wonders Architect. In number 7 position is Dice Born Heroes. So at Gotfest, my friend Keith was there. He was showcasing his game, so I asked to play it again with him. I said, but I want to play it with everything this time. So, first couple times I had played with him, we played kind of a modified, simpler tutorial version. So I wanted to kind of get more into it. Plus, it kept getting interrupted, so I wanted to get a full game of it, and I actually finally did. He had also there a prototype of a book of maps and scenarios for this game. So this book probably had about 100 pages, and each scenario is about 3 pages or 3 sets of pages. And then the book becomes the board when you're playing. And there was all sorts of different stories and scenarios you can play. We ended up playing one where the um, paintings in a museum were haunted. So we had these cards that would come out that would bring out ghosts that would have to battle. It was super cool. And I actually got to level up my character this time. So you start with the base character and then you play the game, the first round. Once the monsters are defeated, you kind of tally up where everything is. And then you flip your card over. And when you flip your card over, it flips on it like it becomes vertical instead of horizontal. And then you get to select which special ability you want, the one on the top or the one on the other side. So once you select, you put that down, then you get your updated component. So and they'll say, oh, you upgrade to a monk or a thief, and then you kind of pick the card you want and you put it down, and you got the extra ability popping up at the top, and then you play the second round, and then after that you'll level that one up. So you'll take the card that's horizontal, flip it over, grab the extra ability you want, and then add a new card. It was so cool the way that that leveled up. I love multi-use cards, so that kind of had that element to it. We would gain more dice. Finally, we kind of gain the ability to heal, so you gain more ability as you go. We just barely lost this game. I was knocked out, and when you're knocked out, you got to roll all your dice, and if you get a pair, you come back into the game. Had I come back into the game, we would have won, but I never rolled a pair. So it was so neat. I really enjoyed this one. I got to see a lot more from the game, so it was great. In my number 6 position is Furnace. So I purchased Furnace, a few months ago now. I think back in February, maybe March, and I hadn't played it yet. So when I was at Godfest, I signed up for the scheduled play, and I was so impressed with this one. Now this one is quick. It plays so quick, and it's an engine building game, bidding game. So each player gets a token from 1 to 4. The smallest token's a 1, the largest token's a 4. And on your turn, you're going to place one of your token on one of the card that's available. Now, you can't not play a token where there's already the same number there. So if I'm playing a 2, I can't put it on a card that already has another 2 token. And I can't put it where there's already one of my token. So you kind of distribute the ones. Then at the end, you go through each card. Whoever won the bid, who has the biggest token there, gains the card, and they'll have the bottom portion of the card kind of has a an engine portion, like so you can trade ore and make them into oil barrel or different things like that, for example. And then everybody else that put a tile on that one or a token on it that didn't win the card get to collect the resources that is depicted on the top of the card. Now, if on the top of the card, let's say there was an iron bar, then whoever put a 1, if they put a 1, would get 1. If somebody put a 2, they would get 2 of them. If somebody put a 3, they would get 3 of them. Now, if there was 2 bar depicted, it'd be 2 times 2. If you placed a 2 token, then you'd get 4. It was really interesting. So you're collecting these resources that way. So you kind of want to not win some of these cards so you can collect the resources, but you're collecting the card that's going to give you the transformation you want for the resource you are collecting. And then you can upgrade the cards on the other side, and it gives you more stuff, and they'll give you resources as well as the engine portion. And you want to start trading things so that you get money. Now, money doesn't actually buy you anything in this game, but it's the victory points. So whoever has the most money at the end of the game is the winner. Oh, I haven't even shown you a picture of that. So this is not the game we played. Unfortunately, when I played, I'd forgotten my phone in the car, so I ran to grab it, and then I took a picture of somebody else's game of Furnace that they were still playing. This one, as I mentioned, was super quick. The components are really neat because you get the little shaped barrels, and you get the little shaped gold and whatever. So It was very cool. And then building the engine, collecting the cards. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. After that, in the number 5 position for the month of May is the Gaia Project. So Terra Mystica was my top game, I believe, last month. Gaia Project plays almost exactly the same. It is so similar that you honestly, because I own Terra Mystica, I do not feel the need to own Gaia Project as well. There are a few differences, which honestly, when I played this game, I never got to do. I wasn't too sure how that worked out. This was a long game. It played a really long time, but you don't feel it. You're playing, like I remember my friend Carla stopped by the table. We chatted for a minute. She left. She came back 15 minutes later. And but she actually had played an entire game. I can't remember which game she had played, but she played like it was actually 45 minutes that had gone by, and we just did not notice. I'll show you the board here. So the map is different from the Terra Mystica because with this map, it's modular. You have all these different segment that comes together. They're double sided, so each time the map's going to be a little bit different. Also, you got your board, and that one's fairly the same. So you're picking up components, you're placing them on the map that reveals different things. That's going to increase what you get at the start of your turn. Each player has a different ability. Then you have the tracking map that's above my player mat there, and that's kind of keeps track of your progress on the different technologies. Um, it was so cool. I lost terribly. Like honestly, the winner lapped me, and he was more than 100 points ahead of me. But it was a great, great game, a great fun. I really enjoyed this one. I'm so glad I have Terra Mystica, and then Gaia Project, as I mentioned, plays almost exactly the same. After that, on number 4 position is The Captain is Dead. So after I played the Seven Wonders, I noticed a couple of guys were setting up The Captain is Dead. And I really enjoyed that game. So I was like, ooh, any chance I can join you guys? And they're like, yeah, sure. We were just trying to learn this. I was like, well, I've played it before, so I was able to teach it. We were 3 players. Now, this game is a cooperative game, and it's basically Star Trek, the board game, without having purchased the IP. So nothing says Star Trek on here, but everything screamed Star Trek on here, like the original series. So we ended up playing. Now, this game is punishing. It is hard, and it was. So we managed to fix the jump core a couple of times, but our shield kept going down, and there's multiple ways to lose. If your shield goes down, you lose. If you run out of card, you lose. If all the aliens have taken over the ship, you lose. So there's a lot of ways to lose, and the only way to win is to fix that jump course so you can get out of there. And then you see bad things happen every round. So you kind of do what you can, then you kind of see what the card that flips up and what's coming in the future, and then there's all sorts of stuff that happens. None of it is good. But it was so cool. It was so neat. I so enjoyed this game. We made it, geez, because there's 3 sets of cards that you go through, like the alert cards, and you start on the easier one, then you go on the medium one, and then there's like the red alert ones. Now we would never reach the red alert ones. We died in the orange ones because they get progressively harder and harder. But it was a lot of fun. I think the guys that ended up playing this with me enjoyed it as well. And that's my number 4, The Captain is Dead. In number 3 position is Galaxy Trucker. I just purchased this one a little while ago from a friend who was selling a bunch of games. And it is so good. Now, this is the original one. They've reprinted it, which I guess is a little bit more compact. So this one is a table hog, but it plays in 2 parts. First part is you're going to be drafting these tiles and adding them to your ship. So you're building your ship. So you take a tile, add them in. And there's different connection between the different tile, and the connections have to match, or it has to be a universal connection, and you're adding all these different things. So you'll have some cargo bays so you can take on some cargo. You'll have some things that will give you astronaut because you'll need to staff this ship. You'll have shields that you can put up. You'll have projectors that allows you to move forward. You'll have lasers that'll shoot down things that are coming after you. So you build your ship. Now, any areas that has like a connector showing out that doesn't connect to anything, that leaves a weak spot in your ship. So, and then once your ship is built, You go into the next phase where you're flipping cards over and seeing what's coming. And then be like, oh, great, there's an asteroid coming. And then you roll the dice to see where it's hitting. And if it's a big asteroid, you have to hit it with a laser. Otherwise, it's going to destroy whatever it hits. So then you lose parts of your ship. If it's a little asteroid, it's still going to bounce off. So that's fine. But if it hits one of those open connectors, then it's going to destroy those parts. So, and you're kind of going through collecting cargoes. You'll have stuff where your astronaut will leave, or some will just do tasks, but they actually stay with you, and you're collecting these things, and then you're like, and but bad things is going to happen. You're going to have the asteroid, you're going to have different things happening, and then at the end you're seeing how much of your ship made it, and what resources you managed to bring in, if any. It's really neat. It looks great putting it together. I'm really enjoying this one. So that was Trucker, my number 3. Now, in number 2 position, I have Creature Comfort. Creature Comfort is such a pretty gorgeous, gorgeous game. Now I played it at FallCon. Yeah, no, I played it at Gobfest. We were playing it 5 players. This one, my one complaint about it is it plays a little long, and then waiting between turns while everybody's placing their dice. It's can be of a lot of downtime during that part. And then if you have anybody that's going to be very thinky on what they want to do, that would definitely delay this whole game by quite a bit. But oh my god, this game is pretty. You have all these little tokens, and then the token tray that keeps everything together. The organization in this is amazing. And then if you see in the middle of the picture there, you got the little worm. That's the first player marker, because the early bird gets the worm. Each character plays as one of their a different kind of farm forest creature. And this is basically a worker placement. So first you'll roll your 2 dice, so you kind of have an idea of what some of the dice are going to be. And then you place your workers on the different actions you might want to try to activate. Then once everybody's done that, you'll roll the 4 community dice. They call them the village dice, and everybody's going to use those same dice. So then you have those numbers, and then the first player is going to start on where you've put your tokens, your meeples, the dice to kind of activate the different abilities if you've got what you need. Now, some could be like, oh, 2 dice has to equal 7, or the combination of 3 dice has to be below a certain number, or has to be above a certain number, or could be any dice, or if you have a 1, it gives you this, if it's a 2, it gives you that, and so on. So you place your workers, you place your dice, activate what you can, you collect the resources that you can. You have these comfort cards that you can draw, and you start with a couple in your hands as well, and then you spend those resources to build these comfort cards, and then they go and they're going to be worth points as well. And some of them is going to like, okay, well, you have the sleigh. Now, if you get the scarf, you're going to get bonus points. So you're trying to build the scarf as well, or different things like that. It is so neat. I actually played this one again with my stepdaughter, and she loved it. Again, as I mentioned, this one plays a little long, but I think it's well worth it. So that's my number 2, Creature Comfort. And then in number 1 position for the month of May is Awkward Guests. We played this one at FallCon again. This was the last game we played before we left. A friend of mine, Peter, was at the convention, and we kind of had asked, because he had brought it, we saw him play it a couple of times, so we asked if we could play it, and then he kind of came and hunted us over. He's like, okay, want to play? And we did. And I didn't take a picture because it's a deduction game, and you're writing all these clues and stuff, so I never even thought of taking a picture. But everybody gets this little shield that you put in front of your sheet, and the sheet has the different suspect, and there's all sorts of different potential motive as to why they would have committed the murder. And then you have the map of the mansion, and in each room there's different weapons that could have been picked up. So you got to figure out who the murderer was, which path they took in this mansion, and what weapons they collected along the way to kind of cause the murder, and if there was if they had somebody helping them out and all this stuff. Now, this game has a longer setup. This box, you open the box, it is filled filled with cards. And it comes with an app, and you select the app, or the way the Peter was playing it was with an app. And you go on the app, you kind of select the number of players that you got, the difficulty level that you want, whether you're doing accomplice or not. And then it gives you all the cards you need to pull out. So you go through and pull all these cards out and you create the deck. And then you kind of hand so many out to each player. So you kind of have some information. Now, it could be the police officer that says, yeah, it wasn't blunt force trauma. So then you go through all of your potential weapons and you remove all the ones that are blunt force trauma. And then as you kind of go and start eliminating stuff, it could be like, okay, well, all the garage's weapons are not the one used in the murder. So this obviously didn't grab the weapon from the garage. And then you'll have staff go in there and say, oh, nobody came from the shed. So you can kind of, okay, well, they didn't take the shed path. And it's so neat. It is so fun. And then you take turn kind of selecting on the main board. You kind of get these little arrows and you're going to point out, I want to know more about this suspect and this room, or you mix and match however you want. You get two things you can ask about. And then everybody will look at their card and select which clues they would like to give you. So it'd be like, okay, well, these two are about those things. So you put it down, and on the corner of each card, there's a number, a numerical number, and it could be the case. So this one tallied up to 4, so I'm going to put a 4 token on it. If they want to get these clues, they got to go through their own cards and give me clues totaling 4 points as well. And then we swap, so I get access to new clues. I'm writing these down on my sheet to kind of keep track of everything. And you do this for a few rounds until you kind of figure out who the murderer is, which path he took, and what the motive was, and what the weapon was. It is so good. This is most definitely on my wish list. I love this game. And that's why it was my number one. So this is just a recap here of all the games that made it the top 9 for the month of May. In the month of June, now this is my birthday month. I'm really excited. I also am hosting a MelCon at the end of the month, so we'll hopefully have lots of games played this month as well. So stay tuned to see which games are going to make it into the top 9 for June. In the meantime, if you want to follow me on Facebook, and actually I haven't changed this, but it is now Board Game Mama and Friends are playing all the games. My Instagram is Board Game Mama. My podcast is The Board Game Specialist that I do with my friend Carla, and my YouTube channel is Board Game Mama. So bye everybody.